Though the two of them had been growing closer throughout the season, it was still a little surprising to me when the pairing of Catra and Adora happened. Sure, the subtext had been there and the two of them were very close, and it was the most popular ship in the fandom by a significant margin, but I was still a little shocked when it actually occurred. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad. The dynamic between them is fascinating, and even though Catra tried to kill Adora multiple times before her redemption, the two of them complement each other quite well, I think. Adora is your traditional hero, committed to doing the right thing and putting others before herself, but especially in the start of the series, she tended to be a little too headstrong, a little too self-centered, and a little too willing to solve everything using fisticuffs. While she tries her best, and she definitely cares about people, she can tend to neglect some of her relationships, causing damage without really trying to or realizing it. Then you have Catra, who's your classic brooding anti-hero, though she is funnier and cleverer than most. She's a wounded, desperate person. Unlike Adora, she knows what it is like to have others look down on her, and she takes the slights she has suffered very personally. She's proud and paranoid, and she tends to project her emotions onto those around her, as we see when she is in the process of integrating into Adora's squad. She is incredibly hard on herself, so she believes that others will be hard on her too, and she is quite surprised when she learns that they aren't. However, she is smart, savvy, and cunning, and when she decides to be loyal, that loyalty is unbreakable. When she does decide to commit herself to Adora, that commitment is steadfast and resolute, and she can see the smaller scale things that Adora has an unfortunate tendency to overlook. The two of them make a great team, but in order for that relationship to happen, Catra must overlook her fear of vulnerability and closeness. And she must overcome the ego that has been the greatest force holding her back throughout the series. When Adora saves Catra from the clutches of Horde Prime, even after Catra betrayed her again and again, Catra is grateful, but she does not want to express this. She is not ready to have a real, healthy relationship with Adora, and she does not want to face the others, so she pretends that she does not care and that she resents Adora for saving her life. The consequences of this result in Adora nearly giving up on Catra for good. There are only so many times you can give someone a chance before you realize that there's no point anymore, and that you can run out of chances to give someone. Adora has run out of patience for those who do not appreciate her help. Catra recognizes this, and she becomes desperate, and her true feelings start pouring out of her. She knows if she doesn't admit the truth now, she might never get the chance. No, she does not go into a teary confessional. That is not Catra's style. But she gives Adora enough to convince Adora that she had completely misjudged Catra, that Catra is far more than the callous, bitter, unredeemable person Adora had grown accustomed to thinking she might be. Catra has deep, deep flaws, but she can work to overcome them. There is hope for her, and Adora is willing to see that. No, Adora's quixotic hopes about Catra were not completely unfounded, and yes, Catra had noticed that Adora is being far nicer to her than she really deserved. It's just that Catra has a very difficult time expressing this. Why Catra is furious that Adora saved her is that it forces her to fundamentally reconsider her perception of Adora and the contours of her relationship with Adora. There are two distinct Adoras. There is the Adora who exists in Catra's mind, who is cruel, selfish, and manipulative, and then there is the true Adora, who, yes, can make a lot of mistakes, and yes, is a little too ambitious and headstrong for her own good, and yes, in the past, she is not focused on the experiences of others as deeply as she could have, but Adora is nonetheless a compassionate and caring person who wants the best for everyone. Gradually, Catra grows to understand that these two people, her image of Adora and the real Adora, are not the same, but Adora saving her at the midpoint of Season 5 confirms this. When Catra accuses Adora of hating her, Adora shouts back that no, she has never hated Catra, and Catra is silent. She has no snarky comebacks this time. And that is because she knows Adora is right. Adora demonstrates this by saving her. So much of Catra's perception of herself and her relationship with Adora is founded on the belief that Adora does not like her and does not really care about her and is just acting that way because she likes to play the hero. This is how Catra justifies her behavior. If that's not true, if Adora genuinely does care about Catra and is not just acting superior to her, then Catra's entire method of dealing with Adora is fundamentally misguided, and she should instead want to be with Adora. This is not a conclusion that Catra wants to come to, but considering the series of events that occur throughout Season 5, Catra comes to realize that this is the only logical conclusion to draw. This does not make their relationship stable from this point onward, especially when the Shadow Weaver variable is considered. Catra does not want to work with Shadow Weaver because of the depths of her resentment for her abusive mother figure, but she nonetheless strikes up an alliance with Shadow Weaver just because she loves Adora that much and deeply cares about her. Ever since she has been a child, Catra has been obsessed with Adora, and she only fleetingly understands why. I don't want to say that her rage and resentment and jealousy were just a cover for her affection for Adora. That's a reductionist and vastly oversimplified view of thinking about it. However, the affection was there all along. It was just buried under layers of callous bitterness. Above all, she wanted resolution. She wanted to solve the puzzle that was her relationship with Adora, and the solution she comes to is wonderful. The solution she comes to is that her resentment for Adora is unfounded. Despite Adora's faults and flaws, she cares about Catra a lot and wants a deeper relationship with her. Once Catra understands this, she moves beyond Shadow Weaver's corrosive influence and moves into a new and healthier stage of her relationship with Adora. I don't think it is quite accurate to say that Adora saving Catra caused Catra to realize she loved Adora. It is not that simple. Rather, the process of readjustment that Catra undergoes after Adora saves her causes her to realize that she really has cared that much about Adora all along. Instead of seeing what she hitherto wanted to see, she now sees the truth. She now sees Adora for who she really is, a kind, beautiful, compassionate person who wants the best for Catra. The flame of affection Catra carries is not new, and she gradually realizes it has been there in one form or another all along. Again, Catra is far from the best at conveying her feelings, as she does not want to be vulnerable, but she finally manages to admit the depths of her affection for Adora, and she is overwhelmed with joy when Adora returns those affections. With the war over and Horde Prime defeated, they get to start a new stage of their lives. What is more exciting than that, however, is that they get to start this new stage together, arm in arm. With apologies to the show's other wonderful characters, this show has really been about the relationship between Adora and Catra at its heart, the history of that relationship, how it decayed with time and with anxiety and tension, and how Catra was finally able to cut through her misguided perceptions about Adora and stop from losing that relationship entirely. It's a beautiful story, and the degree to which the 5th season focused on it is absolutely justified. The love and pain and hope that exist between them is at the very center of the show, as it should be. So thank you all for watching. If you liked what you saw today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Donate to my Patreon if you can and you want to see more videos like this. When you're done watching this, go back and watch the show from the beginning, or at least rewatch all of Season 5. It really is a thoughtful, heartfelt, empathetic show, and it deserves a lot more credit than it's got. I hate to call it underrated because that term is so overused these days, but I think it definitely applies to this show. It deserves a lot more mainstream attention than it's gotten. Let's hope it gets it with time. Anyway, tune in soon for my next analysis. Will be coming soon. Thank you all again. Adios, comrades.